Good morning. It may be a bit rainy, but I don't care because I'm in Denali. Hey, Future Robin here. Yes, I am sitting in front of my green screen. I'm not actually in Denali. There's a huge lag between when this video is coming out and when the last video came out. I had been trying to do weekly with the hope that I could get the entire Denali sequence out before the school year started, or at least get it all edited before the school year started. That did not happen, and now that I'm teaching, it's a lot harder to edit these videos. So why didn't that happen? If you're curious, hang on after the credits and there'll be more. My first hike for today is down to the Teclanica River, which is right by my campsite. I love walking along rivers because you can see a variety of rocks, and these tell you something about the geology of the area. So I happen to know that a lot of the Alaska Range is composed of metamorphized rock. And here's a prime example right here of a metamorphic rock. You can see that this has a couple different sorts of rock. I don't have my hand lens with me. This white stuff could be quartz. You can see it's intruding. That's what geologists would say. It's intruding into the veins of this other rock, the black rock. So that was probably an igneous intrusion. So there was some sort of volcanic event. Molten rock came into the veins between this rock and cooled, and then the whole thing got metamorphized when the Alaska Range was uplifted. My best guess. From what I understand of the geology of this area, this makes a lot of sense. Denali National Park is made up of a number of terrains, and that's Terranes. And that sort of terrains, they geologically formed in different places and ways. So one of the formations in Denali National Park is the Teclanica. I think it's the formation, not a terrain. That's igneous. So this river that we're walking along gave the name to the Teclanica formation. So there was some volcanic activity. I can't really look at the mountains around me because it's so cloudy, but I imagine we could see, and possibly up there's some red stuff that might be igneous rock, oxidized igneous rock. I don't know, I'd have to look at it up close and personal. So all that volcanism happened within the context of different terrain whose name eludes me now, sorry. My source material is back at camp, where you would have gotten these sort of intrusions. And then you have the metamorphism caused by the uplift of the Alaska Range, most of which I think is caused by the collision of the Yakutat terrain into the mainland of Alaska. So Yakutat, I think, is the stuff to the southeast. Again, I'm ad-libbing all of this as I walk, so I don't have my source material. I just want to show you that rock. Oh my gosh, that's cute. I don't know if cute is the right word. It's not very scientific. Where I'm heading right now, I'm heading down to that outcrop of rock, because that will tell me what sort of geology we have going on here. Well, I don't know if this stream came out of the campground or just appeared out of nowhere like that other spring I showed you, but I did not cross this, and yet somehow, having walked downstream, here it is. So my question is, can I find a way across? Or do I just have to look at this outcropping from here, which is probably what I'm gonna do. This looks igneous to me. It's really hard to tell though. Could be metamorphic. I think the thing to do is to, let's see, here's this other one, which I did cross because it's not very wide further up. You can see here we've got a channel from the main river. No, that is definitely metamorphic rock. Let me zoom in. Yep. I never did make it across to the outcropping. Instead, I decided to go back to the campground, get some gear, and head off on the bus further up the road. I shot this video at the Teklenika rest stop, which is just a mile or so up the road from the campground. All of the buses stop here. And this is the last video that I took for a while. Part of the reason for this is because I knew I had limited battery capacity. That's something I talked about in my last video. And so I was trying to use my phone as little as possible. So what you're going to see from here on out is mostly shots that I took with my Lumix. It's mostly still, though I did get a few videos that you will see. Essentially what I did was I took the bus all the way down to the East River, which is where the bus stops. You can't go any further for reasons we'll talk about later. And then I hiked further up the road. And so the other reason I didn't take a lot of video is because I managed to start hiking with someone who I'm not sure would actually want to be in the video. My hiking companion was a professional photographer, and he was trying to get shots of the polychrome mountains, which, as you can see, it was not a great day for. So you can walk, I think it's a couple of miles, just a little over 2 miles up the road that you can walk. The reason you can't go any farther is there was a landslide. So my hope was that I could walk to the end of the road and then I could just walk across the landslide and pick up the road and keep walking. But this is what it looked like. It did not look safe, so that was as far as I went. Despite the rainy weather, it was really beautiful. I turned around and I came back. We did stop near the top because we looked down on this headland and you can't see it. I don't have a good enough zoom lens. In fact, my photographer buddy did not have a good enough zoom lens, but we could see moose down on this headland right in this green patch. So they were just little dots moving around. As I walked back, the sun started to break through the clouds and I started getting these really cool pictures. It still wasn't quite what I was hoping for in terms of scenery pictures, but it was pretty amazing. I took so many pictures this day that I actually completely drained the battery on my Lumix, which is sad because at the time I did not have a way to charge it off of my battery bank, so that was the end. This is the camera that had the best zoom of the 3 cameras that I had with me. So I hiked back down to the bottom. When I first got to this place, it was swarming with people. There's no one here but the employee behind me. I'm just waiting for the next bus to take me home. That's what you do. You hop on a bus, and then you hop on a different bus that comes by if they've got room for you. So I should say that on the way to the East River, we had seen a grizzly bear. So the bus driver I had on the way back said, "Hey, I hope we see that grizzly bear we saw earlier." And in fact, we did. He was a lot closer and moving. And the bus driver said, "Hey, I think he's going to cross the road. And I think I know where he's going to cross the road." So he moved the bus forward a bit. And he was right. Okay, so what happened? Why am I not getting the series done in a timely fashion? When I went on that camping trip in early June where I was testing out a bunch of equipment, I said this. Things are getting a little better now. Also, I have a teaching partner for next year, so I'm kind of hopeful. Turns out that right around the time I got home from my trip to Colorado, I got an email saying, hey, guess what? You don't have a teaching partner anymore. We have decided we need him more elsewhere. So basically, I have to teach my entire program myself. I'm doing the work essentially of 2 people. And in case you're wondering, I'm not getting paid more. Thanks. I have taught solo in the past, but for all of those times, I knew I was teaching solo, or at least I adjusted for the fact that I was teaching solo. Because this happened so soon before the start of classes, people had registered based on the description that we had written for the 2-person program. I sort of had to stick with it. And, you know, this is very hard because it means I'm teaching things that I've never taught before. And that always makes for a harder class. And I'm exhausted. I cannot tell you how much I'm working and how hard it is and how behind I am, even though I'm already working too much. In terms of this Denali series, my hope is that I will have one day over Thanksgiving break when I can sit down and get everything edited. So editing a video normally doesn't take me that long. You know, when I'm talking about one of my science videos or something, it might take me like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But in the case of the Denali video, these things take me forever because I took so many pictures. Like, I literally took over 1,000 stills just over the course of 10 days. Not to mention, like, all the video. I don't have an easy way to measure how many hours of video I shot, but it was a lot. So for me to go through and pick out, like, what goes into a 10-15 minute video, like, that takes forever. My hope, again, is that I can get a couple done over Thanksgiving and then a couple done over winter break so that I can keep up a 1 video a month posting schedule. And my apologies that I can't do better than that. This is going to be a hard year for me. I'm 3 weeks into the school year when I'm recording this, and I'm already counting down the days to the end. It's that bad. I'll just leave it there.